AKA, because you, of course, you are a beautiful woman in your
Thank
own right. You don't
you.
have to, you don't have to, be anybody's stereotype.
Right.
But traditionally, a AKA has been super duper light skinned, darn near mixed with this long hair that's hers all the way down to, you seen School Days.
Yeah.
We had the had the dark skinned girls with the natural hair. They portrayed like a delta or whatever, and then the other girls that that had on pink and they had all the long hair and the light bright skin. And so I want you to speak to some of the ladies that, because we have some subscribers and people that watch us, and I want everybody to feel like they don't have to subscribe to a stereotype in order to be a part of an organization. So especially for AK.
Come on, yeah. I see you, Deanna. Okay, Gia. DST, D9. Let's go, let's go, let's go. It's violets and pearls with the Delta girls, wearing crimson and cream, call them chocolate supremes. And if you're shopping for things like popular things, they got all of the things from clothes to jewelry. It's a dream to talk about things the D9 way. It feels good to be Greek and change lives, man. It feels good to uplift, to give back and speak facts. Violets and pearls is where it's at. Come on, yeah. VMP, everybody say
hi and welcome to the Violets and Pearls podcast. Today we are so excited. We have a girl talk with one of my favorite AKAs, Shelly James. Hey, Shelly.
Hello.
Hey, Shelly.
Welcome to our podcast. And so, we've said from the beginning, we are about just loving on women in general. Doesn't matter if you are AKA, a Delta, Zeta, a Rho. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. We are all about empowering women in general. So I have one of my favorite AKAs who I've not spoken to in a while. Shame on me, but we need to do better. But we do see each other on Facebook, though. We do keep in touch on Facebook. But welcome, Shelly, to our
Thank you, Deanna. I'm excited to be here. Hi, Gia.
Hey, Shelly.
So, Shelly, my first question is, do you remember how we met? I'm just wondering if you remember, because I remember like it was yesterday. You don't remember?
Okay. No. I vaguely remember. I want to say it was like near the financial aid office or something.
Yep.
That's all I remember.
I remember like it was because I was like, I don't know anybody, and I was so excited to be finally going to college. So I remember we were at orientation.
Okay.
And we were in line, and you were in front of me. It was me and my sister, me and my oldest sister. You were in front of me, and we just started chatting. Yeah. And then you said, this why I remember it, because I remember being, I was like, I'm older than everybody. And so you was like, I'm 20. And I was like, I'm 22. But I'm actually 22, not 20, not 20 as well. And so I was like, I hope she didn't think I was lying to her. And me saying I was actually 22, 20 when I'm actually 22. Yeah. So I never forget that. And so the thing is about Shelly and her family, even now, like when I move to like different cities and find my place in places that I don't really know people, I end up kind of like finding a family. Some kind of way I end up with a family. And then we just become mad cool. So I have spent the night at Shelly's house. I have gone to church with her. We did all kind of, you've done my hair like 100 times.
Look, those are the good old days.
Cool. Yeah, girl, we got so cool. Like your mom used to cook for us, and I don't even eat pork chops, but I ate pork chops that day because your mom could throw down.
Yes, she could.
Yeah, so that's how we know each other. So I wasn't even a Delta at that time, and Shelly was hardcore, AKA out of St. Augustine, I believe. I think you came. Yep, St. Augustine, HBCU. And I was just like a wannabe Delta. I don't even know if, I think I told you I wanted to be a Delta.
You told me later on.
Yeah, I told you later on. So but that goes to show that, Deltas and AKAs can still be mad cool. And none of that really matters if you really think about it. But
right.
So yeah, I wanted to kind of just say how let everybody know how we actually met.
Well, I wanted to jump in real quick because I don't know if Shelly remembered, but I was a sophomore on the yard, and Shelly asked me to braid her hair. Do you remember that, Shelly? Yes.
Girl, no.
You actually came over to the apartment, and I braided your hair, and you had on your khaki AKA jacket, and I was scared as crap because I was like, oh my God, I hope nobody sees me braiding the AKA hair and they go,
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Girl.
Look, Gia, that was a bad jacket too. It had the AKA lady on the back with the pinky. Oh
I
my God. I
remember
remember that jacket. I
I
spent
remember
an
when
arm
you
and a
got
leg
that
on it.
jacket.
Huh?
Yep. I remember when you got that jacket.
I
Yep.
spent an arm and a leg on that jacket. I remember it too.
so you know I didn't lie because I know the jacket. I remember the jacket.
Did you braid her hair, Gia?
Yeah, I braided her hair. I brought her back in my room. This is when I was staying in A5 in the Orange Apartments.
Who was
And,
your roommate?
yeah, Chotney Adams. It was Cheyenne. We called her Shy, and it was Sharice. But yes.
I have to see faces. I'm terrible at names. Absolutely terrible.
How many years ago was this? I mean, it was a long time ago. But yeah,
that was a while ago for real.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We know that when you came to Francis Marion, you were already an AKA, right? So St. Aug is an HBCU. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience coming into the organization, you know, on a yard of an HBCU campus and then transferring to a PWI?
Okay, so first off, I think I have a unique experience as an AKA compared to other people simply because I crossed in spring '02 and then I transferred immediately in fall. So I did not have the experience with my line sisters, like as soon as you cross. And so that was different. HBCU versus a PWI. Let's see. HBCU, I hate to say it. Oh my God, Greek life is so lit. Like it is just everything. PWI, I was at Francis Marion when I came there. I want to say the AKAs were suspended.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they were suspended. So that was definitely a different experience. I would just have to say that HBCU Greek life versus PWI. It's just more lit. And when I say more lit, it is the organizations are more visible on campus. They're more community service oriented. Not to take that away from PWIs. It's just that there is always something community service driven or always a social, like at St. Aug, we had Sweet Mondays. Every Monday, AKAs dress up, sit together, eat together in the cafeteria. I mean, you just always see Greeks out on the yard at HBCU life.
That in of itself is different because we didn't do anything like a day of the week. You know, we didn't have that. We didn't even consider that. That would have been fun, but we didn't even.
Yeah.
One thing I love about HBCUs is they really deep rooted in tradition. Like it's a lot of traditional stuff that HBCUs do over the years and it carries over. I feel like at a PWI, in some ways, we kind of start over a lot, you know, especially when it comes to the African American students. So.
And I think also like one of the things that stand out for me when I'm visiting an HBCU is the representation on the yard itself in terms of like the tree artwork and the rock. Oh my goodness. And we didn't have that at Francis.
Oh no, we had a whole plot, honey.
Y'all did because you took me to it one time.
Yes. Honey, when I say beautiful, oh my God. As soon as spring hit, all the Greeks on the yard on their plot. Like it's just amazing.
I had a tree and it was decorated up under it.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Deltas had a tree or not too, but I remember everybody had their own little section they would hang out. Yeah. We missed that, Gia, at the PW.
Yeah.
We missed that completely. So we want to talk about a little bit like your love and experience with being an AKA over the years. Like, you know, how has it evolved? You've been in it in a while. Things that, you know, in the beginning, you know, things were, you know, different. Or maybe it was the same. So just wondering about what your experience has been.
My experience with AKA, first off, I'll say this. When I came on the campus of St. Augustine's College in Raleigh, North Carolina, I already have two sisters, as Deanna said. And I was like, when I saw the sorority class, I was like, oh, cool, but nobody in my family is Greek. And so I was like, I'm not paying anybody to be my sisters. But
Right.
let me tell you, those AKAs, oh my God, they just took my whole heart because they had their Sweet Mondays, like I said. They were always doing community service. They had a coming out show, and it wasn't the oh so pretty what you expect of AKAs. They came out on motorcycles, and it was just awesome. And so my experience with AKA, that was my first falling in love, okay? When I was
Yeah.
like, you know what, I got to do that because they're relevant on campus. They represent what it is to be a woman in true femininity to me. And I don't know, it was just amazing. So I have been AKA since spring of 2, and for the most part, I'd probably say I've been financially active on and off. The last 5 years, I've been a general member. I am part of a group who we're starting a prospective interest group for a charter chapter in our local area. So I'm excited about that.
Good.
That puts a lot more work back into it. Like before, I feel like undergraduate, you really like get dirty with doing community service. But I think when you become a graduate member, you do community service, but a lot of it is your money, and
Yeah.
you commit to giving financially to give back to the community. Like today is wear pink, spend green, buy black for AKAs. We're trying to, for the whole month of June, we're doing that just to do positive economic impact for African Americans or Black people. So
Yeah.
I think graduate experience, you spending more money, but you're still giving back to the community.
Yeah, I can see that. Two, just to piggyback on that, I want to touch on a little bit about the stereotypical AKA, because you, of course, you are a beautiful woman in your
Thank
own right. You
you.
don't have to, you don't have to, you know, be anybody's stereotype.
Right.
But traditionally, an AKA has been super duper light skinned, darn near mixed, with this long hair that's hers all the way down to, you know, you seen School Days.
Yeah.
You know, we had the had the dark skinned girls with the natural hair, they portrayed like a delta or whatever. And then the other girls that, you know, that had on pink and they had all the long hair and the light bright skin. And so I want you to speak to some of the ladies that, because we have some subscribers and people that watch us, and I want everybody to feel like they don't have to subscribe to a stereotype in order to be a part of an organization. So, especially for AKAs.
First off, I'm a person, I don't subscribe to anyone's stereotype, but that's just who I am as an individual. I believe that AKAs being light skinned and skinny and long hair, I really believe that that's a stereotype. That's just what people think, because I think to me, what speaks to AKA woman is a woman of confidence. And so if you're confident, then you can be a part of any organization, no matter what you think the stereotypes are. It is all about self-love.
Right. Yep. I agree 100%. So if you
Yeah.
want to be an AKA, baby, go ahead. It doesn't matter if you got a natural, or if your hair is down to your feet. It doesn't matter if you dark as night or bright as I don't know
honey.
what.
Melanin popping all day.
Do you go in the direction that you see your reflection in? So
I agree.
you know, I love that 100%.
Yeah. So recently there was a release of a documentary that Alpha Kappa Alpha published, and it was out for public viewing, and I watched it. I know Gianna watched it, and it basically talked about the history of Alpha Kappa Alpha with some history related to another organization that they didn't mention, but we all know what organization they were talking about. So, Shelly, I know that you watched this, so we want to get your take on that documentary and what you thought about that in terms of the evolution of the sorority.
First off, the documentary was awesome. I talked to my line sister and she was like, you got to watch it. It's so empowering. I was like, okay, fine. So I watched it. It was extremely empowering because even though we know those lovely ladies of Delta Sigma Theta, they branched away from, oh, so beautiful pink and green. I say all of that, but even though that happened, it took strong women on either side because at that time in 1908, 1913, 1911, women were facing a lot of adversity. So these were strong women. The documentary really just encouraged me to go for what I want to do. Be strong, stand on what it is that I believe in, no matter who is supporting or not. If you have something that you believe in, I believe you should go for it. And that's what I took away from the documentary.
Yeah, I think it's something that definitely you guys should be proud of. Like it was beautifully made and had a lot of history. Not only that, but it just told just a different story than what we've been stereotypically hearing about Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Now we did know about the split. Of course we were all taught that early in the early days.
Right.
But it's like we hang on that. Like we left, 1913 wasn't no AKAs. But like you said, like everybody was just so strong to even want to branch out and then to even come back to the school and reinstate, and incorporate and do all these things that back then Black women didn't even really have a voice, like, and to come together and actually make some changes in the community and just be so just be unapologetic about it.
Incorporation was so important for AKA, but I've never been a hater. And then for your founders of Delta Sigma Theta to stand on what they believe in and go for their own organization. I mean, it took strength on both sides. It really
strength and courage.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we don't have a whole lot of differences if you really think about it. The only differences we really do have are the colors, honestly. I mean, we do carry ourselves a little different, but that's just stereotype. Yeah. I mean, we do a little bit. Just a little.
So I just want to jump in really quick. So, like, for those who are watching and who are not part of a sorority or any type of organization, the split that we're talking about is that, so in 1908, Alpha Kappa Alpha was founded, and later on, they expanded and had members join their organization. However, in 1913, 22 of the members of Alpha Kappa Alpha split from that sorority and they formed their own sorority as what we know now as Delta Sigma Theta sorority. So there was a bit of a disagreement in terms of the vision going forward for the organization. And so as a result of coming to a cohesive agreement, they agreed to disagree, and 22 of those members left and formed Delta Sigma Theta.
Yeah. Good job. Good
history lesson.
That was good. Okay, so you kind of touched on this a little bit. Not necessarily, well, I guess your experience as a AKA undergrad and AKA alumni. Like, if you were to look back on undergrad Shelly, I guess what some things you would tell her as far as AKA is concerned. Like, I know back in the day we probably was, just hampering on some things that wasn't necessarily as important for being a woman, period, So, just want to know your experience between the two. If there are any differences between an undergrad and alumni experience for an AKA.
AKA undergrad. As Deanna said earlier, I was diehard AKA. I still love AKA to every fiber of my being. What I would tell younger Shelly is sorority doesn't define you. And which I thought I knew that then, but I really know I know it now.
Yeah.
So people know I'm an AKA, but I rarely wear paraphernalia. I do pay my dues, but letters don't define me. And a lot of people, they don't see it that way.
Yeah.
And so I'm proud to be an AKA. I just don't display letters because people judge you. They judge you just off the colors that you wear, and they know nothing about you.
Right.
So I would tell my younger self that AKA does not define you.
Yeah, I agree with that because, back in the day, when we crossed, I feel like we used to wear letters all the time, wear nails all the time. And then like you, once I was out of undergrad, I barely wore paraphernalia, even though we sell paraphernalia. Oh, hey.
Hi.
Here's the baby.
This is my 13-month-old.
Oh.
I was trying to keep him away. Let's see if the brother get him. Y'all might
Hey,
see him
you
again,
look-
okay? Tell him hi.
But I want to touch on a little bit because we've been doing this for a little while, and I just feel like I need to ask everybody this question. So, we've been doing our podcast for a little while, and so we've been doing some podcasts that we're talking about denouncing, and some talking about y'all worship the letters, y'all worship the sorority. You know, the sorority is an idol. Y'all don't put God first. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just touch on that a little bit from a AKA perspective.
So,
I don't even know if you heard that from y'all.
oh, I heard it. Me and my line sister
okay.
me and my line sister had a discussion about
Uh-huh.
this, and I hadn't talked to her since, and that's been years. I will say this: sorority letters do not make you. And about the denouncing, I believe that some people do worship their sorority or their fraternity. And I think it's easy to get to that level. But if you keep yourself grounded, then there is no reason, because I love the Lord Jesus Christ, but I am a member of AKA. And our purpose is service to all mankind. And who is a greater servant than the Lord Jesus Christ? So how can you separate the two? Like I said, I do believe that you could get to that level where you're just worshiping your sorority. Everything is AKA, everything is Delta Sigma Theta. And yes, it can become an idol god. But that's something that you have to check within yourself. And so that was another thing for me too as well. Actually, another reason why I laid back a little bit on AKA, I was like, you know what? I don't ever want to put anything before God, knowingly or unknowingly. So I believe it can happen, but you have to check yourself. And I would not denounce the sorority. And if I did, I wouldn't do it publicly, because your word is all you have, and you pledge to that sorority for what you guys pledge to. And so for you to publicly come out and share those things, then you are not a person of your word. So like, what does that say about you? They probably didn't want you in an organization anyway. I hate to say it.
Right.
Yeah. And I think what you said something earlier that was super important in terms of, like, yes, you are an AKA, but you also know who you are as a woman, right? And some of the things that Deanna and I talk about on previous topics and previous podcasts is that, you know, don't join an organization if you are trying to figure out who you are as a person, you know, because that's gonna send you down a road of possible idolization, because you don't know who you are as a person. You can't identify yourself, and you're holding on to an organization to figure out who you are and to identify you. So I think that that's extremely important as well.
And I think you guys did a podcast about what you learned in your 20s. I really believe that when you're young, you evolve. Oh my God, y'all got to put this on.
Go ahead.
God, hey, yo, let me change his diaper and I'm coming right back.
Okay.
Okay.
Coming out the room. I'm sorry.
Pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
So, Shelly, you were talking about the podcast when we were talking about learning what we learned from our 20s, and you were saying,
I was saying that you're not the same person that you were. Well, most people, when they join a sorority, it's in undergrad when you're 19, 20, 21. So you're not the same person. You evolved from 21 to 40 to 35. And so maybe in your 20s, you were a little idol worshiping. I mean, just maybe, because you're still finding yourself. But as you evolve into a person, into a woman, I think that you should be able to put that in check where you won't have to denounce the sorority.
Yeah, right. And it's probably across the board. Look how we used to be about men back in the day, or you know, school, class, like anything. You just went crazy over any little thing. You know, stuff was just out of whack. So
right.
So before we got started, you were talking briefly about your cosmetic
cosmetology. What's cosmetology?
Was it cosmetology? Okay, okay. So can you tell us a little bit more about that? What's going on? What you got going on with it?
Okay, so I am a licensed cosmetologist. I've been licensed since 2000, and I've always wanted to give continuing education classes. I always wanted my own beauty school too, but I didn't quite work on that. But I am doing continuing education classes. Heavenlytouched.co is the website. I give continuing education classes for cosmetologists, nail technicians, and estheticians so that they can renew their license every 2 years. In the state of
Okay.
South Carolina, let me make that known, South Carolina.
Good.
Nice.
So do they come? They come to you? Like they come to your facility? You got a place?
Oh,
that you-
it used to be pre-COVID where you just go to different cities and you rent out a venue, or if you know somebody, you use their venue and you give the classes.
Mhm.
COVID, we can do the classes via Zoom. And so
Oh.
now it's all online, which is perfect for me because I've always wanted to. I started out as an in-person provider, but I always want to move to just an online provider so that I can make money while I'm sleeping.
Mhm.
So, yeah, but it's
All right.
I love it. I love it. It's online.
Well, good. Yeah, we'll be sure to plug
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
website when we put up the podcast.
Okay.
All righty. Thank you so much, Shelly, for joining us today. Hope we see
Thank
you
you,
again
Shelley.
soon.
Yes.
This has been so great from an AKA's perspective. So
I'm
yeah,
excited. I can't wait to
yes.
see you guys.
Oh yeah, girl, it's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah.
So if you watch this and you enjoyed it, please be sure to like and subscribe and look out for our next episode. See you later.
See ya.